But I think we are watching the arrival of Ayrton Senna as truly outstanding talent in Grand Prix racing. The rain is coming down even harder now. We've got a real cloudburst on now. But Ayrton Senna has the same tyres that Alain Prost is running, the same tyres that the other Michelin runners. He's on Michelin tyres, and he's catching Alain Prost at something like 3 seconds a lap. And that is a truly staggering performance. The Holman is obviously a good chassis, which is a great credit to their team. They put it together. It's quite new. Look at the rain now. You can see that it's much heavier. The track is much wetter than it was a couple of laps ago. And now that's about the view you get when you're following another car. That brief one when he just came through and all the spray came up. And it's really horrible conditions. But Ayrton Senna is coping with them, and he's catching Prost hand over fist for the lead.
I can't believe that they're going to keep running this race. The conditions are the worst I have ever seen in a long, long time of watching races. The race is being stopped. There's an official in front of me with a red flag. The Monaco Grand Prix is going to be stopped.
And I was about to say that I felt that Prost had a very big advantage being the lead as a Frenchman when the conditions got this bad, because it is French officialdom. And I think if they stop the race, Holman and Ayrton Senna will have a very, very reasonable grudge as he goes through catching Prost hand over fist. And I think that this is what I would call French timing. To be as polite as possible, it does seem to me a bit wrong. And Senna could catch him, but he's got the Ferrari in the way.
Well, there goes Prost into the Rascasse corner, chased by Senna in second place, just about 2 or 3 seconds behind him now. There's an official right in the middle of the road now, showing the red flag, and the checkered flag is going out. They are stopping. This is going to be the end of the Monaco Grand Prix with Alain Prost. And Prost is stopping, and Senna crosses the line before he gets there. Now that's amazing. Prost has stopped actually on the line. Senna passed him as he got to the line, but subject to official confirmation, I'm virtually certain that Prost has won with Senna second.
Yes, I think Prost crossed the line just before Senna did, and it will be really a tragic result for Senna. However, he's not about to be world champion this year. He will undoubtedly be world champion in the future if his career continues. So whilst he has every reason and every justification for being very upset, he will he's got a big future. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what Prost can do about Senna being in front of him, because Prost certainly seems to be in very good form here, but he wasn't as brave as Ayrton Senna into the first corner. He was a little bit early on the brakes, and Prost having a look, and Senna's crowding him into the pit wall, and Prost is on, I would think, full boost, and Prost goes through to take the lead.
Let us look now at Alain Prost taking the lead from Ayrton Senna, followed by Capelli and Berger.
It's an almost Formula 3 style tactics by Senna there. He was pushing Prost across the track, almost into the pit wall, just gave him a car width, and Prost was not daunted by that, stayed on the throttle, and as you can see now, braked later into the first corner. So Prost takes the lead at the end of lap 1, or the beginning of lap 2 to be exact.
The San Marino Grand Prix is go. Senna leads, Prost second, Mansell third, Berger in fourth position, and Patrese. Now, already the two Ferraris are jostling with Patrese.
Very short red light then before we got to the green, and Mansell is having a look down the inside of Prost, got a wheel on the grass there, but a clean start. Everybody cleanly away. Senna, puff of smoke there as he locked his left front wheel going into the second gear left-hander. Prost made a fabulous start, but Senna is attacking, and he's got the inside line for the corner, and Senna outbrakes Prost at the end of the drag away from the start. And so the two McLarens are back in line astern in the same order that they were, with some 3-second advantage to Senna from the first race.
We have the trophies and the champagne. Who is it going to be for? Can it be both for the champion of Japan and the champion of the world? Only a car length separates the two, as the in-car camera makes it as
has given up. Prost has given up. Senna has not. I wonder if Senna's engine's still running. Push me. Well, there's your new world champion. If they can't start those cars, Prost has won the championship.
And Senna's giving it everything he's got in an attempt to get the engine fired.
Can't be pushed out.
Well, he was. And you also can't re-enter the racetrack at a point other than where you left it. Now the ball is in the Feuds court. The race officials will no doubt be asked. Oh, he's got more serious problems, but certainly the race officials will have to wave a black flag now, I would think, for Ayrton Senna. They must call him in. They can't let him finish the race, although it looks like he's not likely to with 6 laps remaining.
A disappointed Prost, no doubt, but on the other hand, by my reckoning, a world champion.
David, I must cut in here and say that you are allowed to push the car out of harm's way. Now, that is very much a value decision on the officials and the crews out on the racetrack. I was saying they were only a car length apart when they came together. 6 laps to go now, but Ayrton Senna is back on the track with a broken wing. They have a nose set out here in the McLaren pits, but we just got the sign from Gordon Murray to keep him on the track. They don't want him in the pits.
The rest of the nose came off, and he very nearly went off the racetrack.
Well, you can be pushed out of the way, but you can't be pushed started.
Now there is no wing on the front of the McLaren.
Well,
now, depending on how long it takes them to get that nose off, put a new one on. Can Senna get back into the race? No sign of Nannini down the start-finish straightaway yet. John will cover the pits. I'll be watching the top of the hill. Go ahead, John.
Both crews, both Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna's crews are all over this car. The nose, of course, was removed on the track. They are trying to fit a new one. They had to check the crash box first. They had a spare crash box. The crash box was okay. The Zeus fasteners are going down. Ayrton Senna has wiped his visor, and he is gone with a brand new nose. It's going to take a while to sort it all out again.
And Nannini has taken the lead of the race. Here we see another look at it. See, he's right into pit lane. Senna is right in pit lane, but just right here, Prost turns in, but as you can see, he hasn't really got to the corner. He wouldn't normally turn into about there.
Well, I said it was a battle that they'd be talking about for years to come, and they will certainly talk about that maneuver. There's the pit entry technique again, and this time it works. Nannini lit him up, but he let him by.
Well, he gave him room, whereas, of course, Alain Prost just gave him no room at all. And that, of course, is exactly the same place.
And so the crowd on its feet. The Japanese have a lot of Brazilian flags here today. They also have a lot of Ferrari flags, but no Ferraris remain. The Brazilian flags wave for Ayrton Senna, and it may be a while before we know whether the Brazilian has, in fact, kept his world title defense hopes alive by winning this Japanese Grand Prix, which he will almost certainly do at this point with 2 laps remaining. More than 150,000 are on their feet to watch the McLaren Honda of Ayrton Senna of Brazil cross the start-finish line. Checkered flags, perhaps very appropriate for a checkered victory here today. We've just been told that Ayrton Senna has been disqualified from the Grand Prix of Japan. Let's take another look at the critical moment in this race. With just a handful of laps remaining, Senna tried to overtake his teammate Alain Prost by using the entrance to the pit lane. Prost moved over on his line. The 2 cars locked together and slid off onto the escape road. Prost climbed from his cockpit, but Senna stayed in his and was push-started by the officials.
And, of course, push-starting in international racing is a no-no. And not only was he push-started, but he then drove on through the chicane, which is also an escape road, and rejoined after the chicane. And, of course, he had a double black mark for a push-start and, of course, for going through the chicane the wrong way, and they ultimately disqualified him.
That makes Sandro Nannini the winner of the race, and Alain Prost a 3-time world champion. Here's John with the new champ.
Alain Prost, welcome to another World Championship. Congratulations. What happened out on the circuit?
Today was a special day. I mean, I did a good job during the weekend to set up my car the best I could on race condition. And I think I did a good job on this side with my engineer, with my mechanics. And I just concentrated on the best start possible. And then after that, I controlled the race very well. I mean, everything was very good. And was absolutely no way that I think Ayrton could overtake me. I was quite confident in front of him. And the only way he could pass was in a way, he tried, but it was impossible. I mean, it was too far behind.
Of course, he continued, and there was a chance that he may be allowed to take a victory here. A lot of discussion up in the tower. What went on in the tower, Alain?
You know, it's difficult. In fact, it's not my business. You know, I just read the regulation, and the regulation was very clear, and it's not my job. You know, I can't comment this decision. And
which regulation did you read, Alain?
It's just that if you're pushed, you have to be pushed without any other mistakes or errors. But he has been pushed in not on the track itself. You know? And I mean, ask the clerk of the course. It's not my job. I don't want to polemic about that.
Well, I think I certainly speak for myself and all the fans of the United States at ESPN. Congratulations on an excellent World Championship. Congratulations, Alain.
Thank you, and thank you for all my fans.
We are waiting for the start of this 53-lap race. On the left is Ayrton Senna. On the right is Alain Prost. Behind Senna is Mansell. Behind Prost is Berger. The grid is clear. The lights go. And Senna sprints away, but Alain Prost takes the lead. It's happened. Alain Prost has taken the advantage. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner, but what has happened to Prost? He has gone off too. Well, that is amazing, but I fear absolutely predictable.
Yes, and that makes Ayrton Senna world champion this year. So Ayrton Senna now with Prost not finishing the race quite clearly. He's out of his car, stuck in the gravel pit. That, I'm afraid to say, is the end of this year's Drivers' World Championship in favour of Ayrton Senna. There's Prost running back, but it's all over for him.
Well, that was predictable, I'm afraid. The man who got to the first corner first was going to be the world champion.
Having said all that, of course, we could have a restart to this race. There's the two cars in a very dangerous position, and if the race is stopped, well, they're moving them, so if they get a move, and as yet there is no red flag.
We're racing against each other so competitively to actually get on with each other and not fight in this way that's going on at the moment.
I thought it was not possible, but I still think the same. But I think it's also not possible to handle with him, you know. So what can I do? I mean, I stop racing immediately at the end of the year, or I try to do my job and I don't think about him, you know. And I know it's a difficult situation, but I don't think I've done everything to reach this point.
You've had 2 weeks to think about it. Do you think that he deliberately crashed into you?
Absolutely, 100%. And I have, you know, a video here from the helicopter. I have the video from some people. I think it's very bad, you know, to try to prove the things. But I am a racing driver, a lot of experience, and I never lie. I never lie to the press. I mean, very often it was against me because I said things were a bit rude, a bit difficult to understand for a lot of people. But I never lie, and I can tell you he has done 100% deliberately. That's what I don't accept. If there were only 1% chance, I would say, okay, there is a doubt, but it is not even 1% because it was a corner where I'm flat, you know, in 5th gear, and the only way he could do something, he cut the corner and he hit my wing, the rear wing. So in fact, he did not hit the right wheel or the middle of the car, he hit my rear wing without touching the wheels. That means he just pushed me behind. So, and then from this time I don't want to speak anymore about that, you know, because it's no value for me, no value for the sport, for the team, for the Formula One, and I think it's very bad. But we reach a point where it's going to be very, very difficult to work very well. That's why I said, you know, after Japan, I still feel the same. I'm thinking of or retiring or to do something.
Really? You're really thinking of that?
Yeah, because it's, what can I do? I mean, you know, I have some children, and it is very bad for me to feel sometimes that my child, who is now 9 years old, could think that I am a bad boy, you know, I do something wrong in the sport, and they don't understand. I mean, I don't want to, I mean, Formula One is a part of my life, part of my career, but it's not everything. And I don't want to look like, I mean, we are very different. You know, I don't want to argue anymore, telling how he is, and he's going to say how I am, which is stupid, because I know how I am. You know, and even if you argue, you still have some. If you can demonstrate that one person is very bad, you still have some fans about this person, and it is no value anymore. But I'm thinking more about my future and about the life after Formula One. I think it's very bad.
You'll go on next year.
I try to, but I want to see how things are going to change. You know, and you know, I don't know if you remember, but I was always complaining about the mentality in Formula One getting bad and bad all the time, and that is my main concern. But on the other side, I really enjoy to work in the Ferrari team at the moment. You know, I must see what I should do, but I want to talk with the team. I want to see how is the federation is going to control, you know, this kind of accidents, and not only one in Japan, but a lot of accidents this year. Just want to wait and see.
Ayrton Senna, I've heard that you've recently run the World Championship. Have you got something to say about this?
It's over. I think for sure I want to win the race today, in the same way I won in '88 to win the championship. Unfortunately, it went wrong on the first corner. There was a big risk. I had nothing to lose on the first corner. I want to win, and I went for a gap in inside on the first corner. Alain didn't see it and just closed the door, and we end up touching. That's too bad for the championship, because I'm sure the race would have been full of excitement. But last year I lost in a similar manner towards the end of the race instead of the beginning, and this year went wrong for him. In a race like this, where you're fighting for the championship, you have to go for everything. And as it happened in many other occasions in the past, there have been accidents in the first corner. I was on pole. Prost did a better start, but on the first corner I was coming faster than him. I had a better engine acceleration, and there was a gap. I went for it. He closed the door, and then was nothing I could do to avoid the contact. If he had not closed the door, nothing would have happened, and we would have continued racing. But unfortunately, he closed the door, and I could not avoid the contact.
Ayrton, it was announced by Williams that Alain Prost had signed for them today, and there's mounting speculation that McLaren might get Renault engines. Would that help you change your mind about staying with McLaren for next year?
Well, I wouldn't be able to give you a short answer, because it's far too complicated, everything. The one thing all I would say is that this is supposed to be a World Drivers' Championship. We had two fantastic championships, sport championships, last year and this year. And we had, in my opinion, two very bad ones in '89 and 1990. And they were a consequence of unbelievable politics going on and a bad behavior by some people. And I think now we are coming back to the same situation again. It's impossible to accept somebody to come to a team February in the year with a signed contract, veto myself and himself too, and eventually they change his side, but stay with the veto on myself. And I think if Prost wants to be called the sole champion, 3 times world champion, come back in a sportive way, maybe win another championship, he should be sportive. The way he's doing, he's behaving like a coward. And if he wants to be sportive, he must be prepared to race anybody at any condition, at equal terms, and not the way he wants to win a championship. Everything has been laid down to him before you start. It's like if you go in a 100-meter sprint and you want to have running shoes, and everybody else should have lead shoes. That's the way he wants to race. This is no racing, and this is bad to all of us. That's it.
Ayrton, thanks for your candid answer there, and Nigel nodding there in agreement. But congratulations again, Nigel Mansell, superb win.